How big is your team as the franchisor? What does that look like? I'm always curious about running a franchise versus
Yeah.
buying them.
So we've got 13 employees, including me and the founders. And we've got 7 franchisees out operating in 22 territories. Everyone else who's signed is opening Q1 of next year. So we'll have the rest of the franchisees open by the end of March who have signed. It takes us about 9 weeks to get them the trucks built and launched and all that kind of stuff. So we're really top heavy. But I raised capital so that I could do this the right way. Didn't know how to raise capital before I did this. Didn't even know what a cap table was. I raised capital last year from David Barr. You might know David Barr. He has like over 1,000 restaurants. He's a mentor of mine and other people in the franchise industry who could provide intellectual capital in addition to actual capital, long-term investors and mentors. So I knew we were going to grow because if I just do what I've done the last 2 times, we'll grow a big company. I did not expect to have this many units. My projection for the year was like 32 because I had never sold a brand from no franchise location. You know what I mean? Hey, there's no franchisees, but buy into the I'd never done that before, but we've taken off. We're one of the fastest growing franchises in the country right now. And so that's part of the reason I raised capital. So I had kind of buffer to build the team before I need the team.
Yeah.
But what does that look like? You got some marketing guys that are doing biz dev. You have admin people that are handling HR, hiring, trucks. What does that breakdown look like?
Yeah. So franchisors have internal team members and then they have suppliers. And we have about 16 different suppliers for equipment, insurance, marketing, like CRM, all that. And all those companies, I basically have them marching in the same direction and manage them. And then I have an executive team. So I have a senior VP of operations, a VP of operations, VP of onboarding, and VP of marketing. They have people underneath them. That's how we do it. And then we've got marketing companies that do outbound lead gen for commercial customers. They're external, but they run through our corporate. We've got a command center for leads. We turn those leads on a month before franchisees go to training. So we've got systems in place from both internal and external. And I built all that. It took me about 8 months to build that before we even launched. So negotiating with vendors, making sure that they're going to deliver for franchisees, all that stuff was done before we even launched our first franchise.
What was the biggest patch? Was it Patch Boys?
Yeah, the Patch Boys. Yep.
What was the biggest Patch Boys? How big can it get?
When I left, I think one guy was doing 1.4. I think he was on track to 1.4, 1.5. But I mean, he was 3 years in.
Yeah.
So not bad.
Yeah. And I guess the idea is you buy multiple locations, right? So that's where you really get your scale is you're buying 4 territories, 5 territories, same playbook. You know how to run one, you know how to run the other ones. And that's how you eventually get to that 4 or 5 million is you have to own 5 territories, right? Was that a common thing that you saw? I know you said that some of them owned, and to follow John's point is what was the biggest owner? Did they own 20 territories and they ran a 20 million?
No, so that was an emerging brand. When I got involved, it was 3.5 years. And keep in mind, there weren't a ton of operators out there being established. So when I left, we were on year 5, 6-ish of the franchise brand and the franchise kind of life cycle. Yeah, our best guy probably had 5, 6 territories.
That's pretty decent. Even if they're each doing 500 to 3/4, and you're still in that 3 to 4 million territory, it's terrible.
Yeah, it was a good business. It had its challenges, but I think we did really well with it. I learned a ton. I was able to take everything I learned from there and make it better and now apply it to
the next project. Yeah. So when is the standard customer a homeowner, like a plumbing company that opens up holes in walls, or property management doing tenant flips?
So it's customers who had a plumber come out or an HVAC person cut a hole in the ceiling, had a leak, restoration company, they needed to do a flood cut.
Yeah.
Those were the customers that we had. So residential consumer, there was almost no commercial side to that business. It was all residential customers.